Guys, we are back. This is not the typical episode that we do as far as deck reviews. With this segment, it's more so kind of discussing, well, the most recent bomb that just got dropped on us. Dadaluma is banned. With me, I have a guest today, Josh Guh. Hey, say hi to everybody there, boss.
Hello, how are you guys?
so, I just wanted to kind of discuss this and talk about it with somebody and bring them on board and kind of talk about this controversy. What are your thoughts?
So here's the thing. I personally think that no card has game has ever been deserving of a ban besides Gasper. Not even Tamatosh was deserving of a ban. Just Gasper alone, because Gasper takes away the fundamental aspects of the game, like the things that you need to improve on to get better at the game. So it takes away the decision making and reading your opponent, that kind of aspects of the game, and make it into a top deck war, right? And that isn't healthy for me. That's why I believe it deserves to be banned. Now, Dadaluma, I understand the reasons in which why they want to ban it. And the truth is because Dadaluma gives you a win condition. By having a Cactuar and a Dadaluma and two Cactuars, it is instant win for the game. But that can be said for a lot of cards. For example, the new 2 CP Legend Zidane, if you were to Sage the Zidane in turn 1, and then you hit the opponent twice, right? The game's over most of the time. And they couldn't deal with it, it's over. Because,
They're just too much of an advantage. Too much
yeah,
at that point. It's just too much an advantage. You drawing, and you can get so ahead.
exactly.
I can definitely agree with that.
And so what I'm saying is this kind of thing is still prevalent in the game and is going to be part of the game. And I just do think that, and I think that Dadaluma is an advantage, but the deck itself, right, achieve that to be able to get Cactuar, Dadaluma consistently and stuff like that. If you don't just depend on luck, you just don't go full Jamie Faulkner and get it every single game. It's super difficult and inconsistent. And the way the game works is the consistency is going to go down. And so there's always this balance.
So
between
here's like what troubles me and what really upsets me about the ban is if this was 6 months ago when Dadaluma was a lot better, it would make more sense, right? Like if they banned Dadaluma the same time that they banned Thaumaturge and Jesper, because I think the card was outright busted back then, right? But it's not that good anymore. Like Wind Earth, it has Dadaluma Cactuar in there because it's good, but like there's so many other cards that you want to put in the deck that it makes it hard to build the Wind Earth list because there's just so many other good things. But so I think it's coming down to more of a fan service on why they banned this. It's just my 2 cents on it.
I totally agree with you in regards to the fan opinions part, and it's also a part that upsets me a lot because there is a slippery slope there, right? Because if you're gonna do fan service for this one deck, you're gonna start doing fan service more and more and more and more, and that's not gonna be good for the game. Like you're right about Dadaluma being hard to build, and like I said, it's not so easy, and it is actually a very beautiful and very elegant deck because everything's synergized, right? For example, the Diablo synergizes with the Cactuars, the Semi Lafina which synergizes with Star Seville, which synergizes with Dadaluma and things. So I love that deck. It's wonderful, and there are many win conditions that you can go for, and the things you can do to survive the early game and things like that, which makes the deck very complex and not as simple as most to play at a very high level as most people think. So hence I don't believe it deserves a ban. But I also want to point out that to be fair to the creators, we have to consider that they are actually planning banning Opus 9, and it might be that there are some broken shit in Opus 9 that just pulls Dadaluma over the edge, and which is the reason for their decision. But I feel that in regards to that, right, I feel that we deserve a more thorough explanation, which I recently just posted on
Yeah.
Kageyama's Facebook. I said
If
we need to know why.
if let's say if the reason for the ban is because there's something in Opus 9 that just makes it outright disgusting, give us two things. Let us know the ban happened, and spoil the card. Let it make sense.
Exactly.
Let me
Exactly.
understand why it was banned. Because all I feel right now is, well, it's been a fan service. And if you kind of want to talk about things that, or cards that are really strong, like super strong, shape the meta, like really shape it to what everybody's playing around and what everybody looks for when they're building this archetype. I give you Dadaluma, something that you looked at for Wind Earth. It was just in there, right? But lately, it was something that it was in there because Dadaluma Cactuar is good, but it was kind of yeah. I debated on bringing Dadaluma from 3 copies to 2 because Noctis is just better in Wind Earth right now, my opinion anyway. Because him and Cecil are just the real champions of that deck. But Layla is really strong, and you can't build mono water without thinking of that, right? And the CP advantage that gives you is absurd. Or Zidane. Right now, Zidane is a powerhouse, and with the decks playing 3 Miyun, you're Zidaning 2, 3, 4 times. With Phoenix, you can Zidane a bunch of times in one game, and that shapes the meta right now. Veritas is super strong, like absurdly strong, and he's shaping the meta in a way that people are teching nonsense cards like what's that ice backup Goomba or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a bad card, but like it makes sense to run that now because Veritas is so powerful. Miyun is getting so strong right now because you will just sack that to a Veritas to then replay it, redraw something else, and rebounce your Zidane. So it Dadaluma is not the only overpowered card right now to where like it needed to definitely go for the health of the game. And if there is something in the next set that puts it over the edge, I would like to know what that is while you're letting me know that it's banned, so I can put your reasonings together. That's
Yeah.
kind of my
Definitely.
message.
I did write that exact message to Kageyama on his Facebook, but I put it a little bit tongue in cheek. I'm like, yeah, you gotta spoil us, like what's happening. But yeah, I definitely agree with you that there are other cards that are broken. But I guess the argument for Dadaluma is that Dadaluma is a win condition by itself, and the other cards are not exactly win conditions, and you can play around them. For example, I don't believe that Veritas is the one that's very, very strong. But I think that Zidane, right, is definitely not ban worthy. And the reason why is because I know it gives you advantages and stuff like that that sometimes could be really oppressive. But the thing is, you can always play around it. Like the card that they pick up, you could just draw another one. There are things that can happen. You can always play differently to adjust to it. In essence, right, if you look at the pure CP value that it is, it's a 1 CP 3K. So I understand why it's powerful and why people feel oppressed by it, but I think
Hmm.
that any like top level player, right, would be able to deal with it.
Yes, but so let's say you're going turn 1, right? You're on wind, water, earth, wind X, right? Mono wind, and you play backup pass. Other turn plays backup pass, and you play Zidane. You now can effectively, let's say if they're trying to play on curve and they got a 3 CP backup that they're gonna play on curve, you pull that out of their hand. Unless you draw that, you can set them pretty far back at this point with
Yeah, for
taking
sure.
taking the curve. And there are times where that play right there on your turn 2 just snowballs to your loss because you know what they got the advantage. They're now swinging in for points unless you want to play a forward, and then they got the knowledge that is your hand, and kind of go from there. So, um, honestly, I don't think that any of these cards should have been banned, but to say that this one's ban worthy and these other really potent cards aren't doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of the point that I'm trying to make, right? Um,
Yep.
I don't think
Yeah,
Dadaluma should have gone. I don't think these other cards should go. But if you're gonna say that this shapes the meta in a way that it has to go, so do these. Like these cards are creating our whole meta.
Now, here's the thing. I understand what you're saying,
Uh-huh.
but I kind of disagree with you on that.
Yeah,
And the reason why, first of all, I agree with you that none of these cards should be banned. First of all, okay, let's just put it clear. I think that neither Dadaluma nor any of those cards should be banned.
of course.
But I believe that if they have to ban something, Dadaluma makes a little bit more sense because of the free win condition it gives you.
Mhm.
But then that said, right, I believe that if they were gonna ban Dadaluma, a card that's equally deserving of a ban would be, for example, Nazo or Valor, equal to Dadaluma level because they give you a win condition.
Yeah.
And it's like, and although it requires setup, it is a free win condition.
So here's another thing that is pretty broken. Like 2 CP Yuna is absurd. Activates the Valifor. I think that's the culprit. It activates the Valifor, and they gotta be super careful. I mean, super careful on what water summons they print, because water summons are borderline busted because of that card, right? Like, Kukulin is a fair card. I think Kukulin is a very fair card at 4. At 3, he's effectively a 1 CP. I'm gonna trade or kill you, right? If you're playing it the right way. You play water, you main water, so you kind of know where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah, I think Chuchulin is one of the best cards in the game for sure. I think Chuchulin is the best experts based on what it does on top of the experts. So,
Yeah.
I actually think it's probably one of the best cards.
The new Leviathan,
yeah,
the new Leviathan. Although it's not really good early, using that card for 2 CP is just outright insane. Because it's like, all right, that's a kill spell. It's like, all right, this is dead when water's all set up. Fanfurt for 2 is pretty broken. Bismarck for 1. So these are cards that give water a huge advantage, and I'm not saying it's ban worthy. It shouldn't be banned, but like it's a card that shapes the meta in a way that makes this deck good in the way it is. And Mono Water actually has been dominating a good bit, but nothing on that list is getting banned. Nicole is probably one of the most absurd things that's been printed for water, and that isn't getting the attention that it should be. So it kind of just confuses me as to why I think maybe I'm more salty because of the reasoning they gave us, and the reasoning that they gave us for Dadaluma doesn't make sense when you think about all the other cards that are in our meta that shape our meta.
I guess I agree with you somewhat, but also when it comes to, I mean, like, this is the problem with having this kind of discussion, right? Because we're both bringing up so many points that I don't know which point to follow, Because I could go like an hour discussion with you just on Mono Water. I can give you another discussion on Yuna and another discussion on like Dadaluma and like in relation to all these decks.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'll go by one first, like, and I'll give like a short brief of each one.
Yeah.
Like in relation to each deck, like I still have pointed out, right? Is the fact that like I said, free win condition, blah blah blah. But then I guess the issue, Dadaluma's win condition, right? I feel is as opposed to a water win condition, is that if the water managed to set up the Nazo, right, the water is already in like a pretty dominant position, and of course, water is like kind of like really really weak, kind of early before that. So that is like part of what the whole archetype of the deck, which is shaped around, right? Mm-hmm. And cards like Yuna, right, makes water summon stronger, but they design water summon not to be. There's no like crazy things like Rama or like Phoenix and stuff like that in water. There's no like really crazy kill spells, there's always like conditions with it. So it's like that they kind of balance it around that way. And like I said, Kenazo is a win condition if you're set up, and then that's what the whole archetype is based around. But the thing is, it doesn't allow, but Dadaluma, right, allows for a kind of high roll situation in a sense. Because, for example, like I said, if you look at semifinals, Jamie versus Toby, right? Like he get a perfect curve, and then he get a Cacto Dadaluma by turn 4 or 5. That's it. It's over. And that is the part that is that's the pushing point. That's like that tips Dadaluma over the edge over cards like Kenazo and
So now, and also that's also a favorable matchup for Earth Wind, that situation, right? Because you put Earth Wind against Lightning, it struggles tremendously. So there are gonna be it is gonna be somewhat of a triangle. Like there's gonna be strong matchups that you're gonna have that you fold to everything else. Like Wind Water is pretty dominant over Earth Wind because Earth Wind has to change its whole game plan to win that match. It has to be the aggressor early, and you don't want to be the aggressor early. You want to set up. Wind Water will, if they're not put on the back foot early, they'll set up the same way as you do, and then they'll just mill you, right? Every deck has a different game plan for every deck that they're gonna go up against. So I mean, for a lot of decks, yeah, you set up or Dadaluma Cactar, but you know that's the deck you're going up against, so your game plan must be different. You shouldn't let them get to that point where they are trying to set up. You are going to be the aggressor and preventing that from happening.
Yeah, exactly. So like you got that right. Like every match, every deck, every matchup is counterplay and this kind of thing. This is correct, and this is why Dadaluma shouldn't be banned.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to say is the one small argument for why Dadaluma should be banned is because there is a high roll aspect to it. Mm-hmm. Like if for example in water, if you draw Kenazo early, you cannot do anything about it. But if you draw 2 Cactuars and Dadaluma early, okay, you win. That's what I'm trying to say.
Dadaluma flops to the Famfrit. Like you put out a Dadaluma, all right, personal Pam Famfrit, all right, that's gone. On to the next one, and like Earthwind has been mainly focusing lately on Noctis and Cecil, and using your darks and your Cactars to do the 10k damage and then fight something else. So it hasn't necessarily been revolving around Dadaluma.
Of course not, but I'm just saying that there is a high roll potential.
Yeah.
If they have Famfrit, you play things like Zidane and stuff. There's always like things to go around it. But the point is, if you get it early, it's still really strong. But it's not. But only in the right condition.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that is like the flip side to it. It's not as simple a conversation as most people would think.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't understand this game at like a super high level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want, I can go back to Yuna a little, right?
Yeah, let's go back and talk about other cards that are deserving or potentially borderline broken or not, and then kind of go from there.
I don't think Yuna is broken, and especially in mono water. I think Yuna has a potential to be broken because of its effect with Valor, and in which case you should be banning Valor and not Yuna. Now the reason why is because, like I said, water summons does not have the same impact as the other summon, and they intentionally design it that way, I'm sure. The thing is, you have to understand that at a very, very high level, right? Not obviously at a low level, but the things like name breaks and stuff that actually comes into play. It becomes effective. And if you take a look at my mono water Veritas deck, which has been dominating in NA, which won Octagon Opening NA and won the recent qualifying NA, right? I only run 2 Yunas. And the reason why is because 3 Yunas is great, you want to have it out on the field, but when you are behind, back up on the field and it's Yuna, and then you draw another Yuna, that can actually screw you and lose you the game. And that has even happened with 2 Yunas. So in 3, it is actually not worth the loss in consistency than if you were to have a different name backup.
Mm-hmm.
Not in like super high level, where if you don't have another, when you play Mono Warrior and you don't get 3 backups turn 2, like you could be like
You're in trouble.
the other player
Yeah.
is good enough that he can put you in trouble. Yeah, that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. I think cards like Yuna doesn't even need to be considered for banning.
I was kind of just putting in perspective like cards that are super powerful that do shape the meta, and that's definitely one of them. I mean, Layla Viking as well. Layla Viking are pretty. Well, Layla is the kind of the culprit there. Layla bringing in your Viking, and essentially, Layla's for free, right? She draws you 2
Yeah.
cards, and she's a 4 cost, and it's just a body for Cloud, or a body for Kegnazo. So, another body for the Leviathan, the new Opus 8 Leviathan, which I think that card is insane, but it's only good late game. Um,
Oh,
Banning Dadaluma also makes Fire Ice exponentially better, right? That's like its only really tough match is a Dadaluma Cactar. Everything else it
I
really
think
doesn't care
I think
about.
it's the opposite actually. I think that Dadaluma is afraid of fire ice. I think it's the opposite.
Um, not it wouldn't have any issues with Dadaluma really stomps on that deck with Cactuar.
But
Because
if
but they got to
only
they have to choose. They have to choose, and you just ping everything off. The only thing that saves that deck is Lease, and that's after they receive 5 points of damage. So if you know what you're doing and you're trying to take control before you get them to 5, and then
yeah,
have
but it
control.
depends on the list that you're running because like for example, I saw the fire ice list that this guy playing Octagon Open. I don't know what his name is, but
Chris Neal.
his fire ice has no sage, right?
Oh,
There's
no.
no fucking way he's ever gonna beat the Dadaluma deck. The reason why Fire Ice is great against Dadaluma deck because if you play an early lock and then you haste him, and then you make
It
start
cripples. It
making Dadaluma,
cripples. Yeah, it
that
cripples the
that fucks
deck.
up the Dadaluma. So it's a good matchup for Fire Ice. It's one of the deck that has the best chances to Dadaluma. But not if they don't run lock stage and then they don't get it. Once Dadaluma sets up, there's no way Fire Ice can win ever.
Discretion. I think
But the
Chris because
matchup
Chris Neal's list does have Sage in it, so it wouldn't have been his list.
there was a list that doesn't have Sage earlier. No, he has Sage in his qualifiers, I think, in the Crystal Cup, but he didn't have Sage in the Octagon Open. And then I was laughing about it.
That's kind
I
of
think that's
bold.
what happened.
It's kind of bold.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that he put him after the fact because the Sage is pretty crucial.
It's very crucial. It's the Sage lock combo is probably one of the reasons to run Fire Ice. There's not much other reasons to run it. The deck itself is not like amazing.
I can disagree on that. I think the fact that they have 3 backups that are FF6 now makes Lot
Yeah.
a savage. It makes that card just outright busted. It's super strong.
But there are also issues with, like, for example, Setzer. The reason why cards like Setzer is balanced, right? Because there is a consistent issues with Setzer. I can run like 12 targets for Setzer and still with it turn 1. And then there are things like that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And like Fire Ice is probably the deck that I tested the most. And Toby also tested it, and we all tested it and stuff like that. And then we basically gave out on it quite fast. And I think I have the optimal the top optimal list for Fire Ice right now, and I still feel that it falls a little bit short. And it just gets, obviously, like if you play Fire Ice against like Wind Water, right? A single Fina Valor combo would just win the game. So
I mean, it kind of just goes back to like every deck has their really strong card that shapes the meta to what it is, but that doesn't mean that those cards were deserving of a ban. So it kind of it goes back to everything. We can pick any really big deck right now that's really strong, and they all have their really strong pieces that shape the meta, but it isn't ban worthy, right? That kind of brings up the whole point of what we've been trying to the message we were trying to state on this whole whole
Of
episode.
course, I agree with you totally. So
Hopefully, going forward, we find out what's this potentially oh so broken card or cards that are going to be released in the future that would have made Dadaluma outright busted. But I hope that it wasn't a fan service banning Dadaluma, and it was actually for the better of the game. At least that's what I would hope. And
yeah, I hope so too, and I hope that they stop banning cards unless there is something like a Gasper coming out again, and then the entire community starts saying something, because
mm-hmm.
like this one, it really came out of the left field, and the most that's me the most about this ban, right, is not just like obviously the ban itself, but it's the fact that they took so long to
So
fucking ban Gasper.
mm-hmm.
They just put this out of nowhere, like for no reason. When that we had the entire community, like almost every single top player clamoring for the ban of Gasper. I had to write a 1,000 word essay and then have a petition about it before they even like start to deal with it. And actually, Tim Scheider, right? Shout out to him, who's the Square Enix representative in Europe. He actually had to go really far for it. He had to push it. He had to get into arguments with management and stuff like that for it. So we have to like give a lot of props to him for that happening. But the fact that we have to go to such length to get a really disgusting, really problematic card to be banned, and then to have a card that at the moment get banned just like that is a little bit unfair.
Mm-hmm. I think that kind of wraps this up. All right, I vented as much as I needed to. Still pissed about it, but at least I got that off my chest. Anything else you kind of want to chime in or add?
Oh, I mean that's it. I just hope that going forward, Square Enix can listen to player suggestion more, and like also like just give us a little bit better, and give us good reasoning for the ban and things like this. Like I'll like that will be really appreciated. And I
Mm-hmm.
hope that people don't try to like jump on this and try to like, oh, Verita should be banned now, or Zidane should be banned now, and then like just flood, and then like try to like make a huge petition for this kind of card. Just, and that's what I want to say.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Josh, for joining me on this one. And I think that we're going to call it on this one.